Like pixels on a screen, these are the games of our lives. Don't call it a comeback, because nobody really listened in the first place. It's the inaugural welcome back episode of the Games of Our Lives cast. Mike is in the wilderness of Alaska, so joining me this week is Ray.
That's right, broadcasting from deep within the darkest heart of Georgia, from my heart to yours, the Rayman.
The Heart of Darkness himself.
I'm basically a Kingdom Hearts character, if the people don't know.
Yes, you're Renna Hort.
Which sounds like a debilitating illness one would get in the deepest heart of Georgia.
That's a deep cut, man. Ain't nobody gonna get that shit.
Of course. Okay. That's why they come to us.
Yeah, that's right. For Kingdom Hearts 2 references. Did you fight in the Keyblade Wars?
Oh, front lines. I served under General Goofy.
Except you had like a janitor's keyring.
Oh yeah. It was more of a trebuchet situation where I would just pivot that one key and it had that nice retractable thing to bludgeon from afar.
Key whip.
Key whip. Okay. That's what needs to be in the new Castlevania, the Bloodstained, is a key whip.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so it's been a while. Ray, what sort of video games have you been playing lately?
Well, in keeping with my reputation as a bleeding edge gamer, I just completed a game from 2009.
Nice.
Yeah, finally muddled my way through Persona 4 Golden, which I feel real good about, 85 hours worth. Man, that is a satisfying game. I really do find those games captivating.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me.
Did you almost fall off of the chair, sir?
Yeah, no, well, close enough, yeah. Yeah, I gotta get back into that. I'm falling off that wagon.
Oh, you really should. My wife's furious because my daughter has started playing it as well. So like every moment we're together, we're just waxing poetic about Persona stuff and it's driving her insane. But that's real good, and the clock is ticking because we have the newest entry in the Persona 4 arc is coming at the end of September. So we're frantically trying to complete Persona 4 Golden. I'm working on Persona 4 Arena. There's Ultimax after that, and then we'll be ready
to dance all night long.
All night long, which I just found out Miku Hatsune has a guest appearance in Persona 4 Dancing All Night, which is odd, but kind of cool.
They're basically the same games. I mean,
more or less,
just with a different skin on it.
Yeah, so much skin on my Miku games. But yeah, really, really satisfying. Although foolishly, when I completed Persona 4 Golden, which for the uninitiated is a long JRPG, and started Persona 4 Arena, which is the fighting game, I thought, hey, fighting game, I can breeze right through the story mode. No problem. I'll be ready to go. No, it's not that simple. You have to basically beat the game with all 10 characters to get the full story. And then when you do that, you have to go back and basically do it again to finish the story, but none of this is explained, like how it works or what order you're supposed to do, or even that you have to do it twice. It's just you're on your own.
You figure it out.
Yeah. But very satisfying. Good. I'm terrible at fighting games. Like I have a hard time with pretzel-based combos. So it's not too challenging, but it's taking more time than I would have hoped.
Yeah, I recently purchased an arcade stick, and been practicing on Street Fighter 4. I'm able to execute now, so nice. I could do all the stuff after a couple tries.
Yeah, and wow, and you've only got a few mere months left before all of your knowledge is irrelevant with the release of Street Fighter 5.
Exactly.
Huzzah.
Well, let's see. For my part, over the long break, I sort of dipped my toes into Trackmania 2 Stadium. They have a long promotion with the demo, which is basically the full game that you can play until September. I mean, that demo started in the winter, so that's a very long demo. So I've been piddling around with that. It's a racing game very similar to like Trials, in which it's you versus a track and you're trying to get the best time possible. But there's a twist on it, and there's a multiplayer element where there's like 40 or 50 people all going at once, but you can't interact with them apart from you just see their cars going around the track. So it's sort of this community group think, let's figure this track out, get the best time thing. It's a lot of fun. It's very relaxing, despite being very stressful at times.
So it's ghost racing.
Basically, except the ghosts are real. If that makes any sense.
Real. No, it does. I'm glad that they have some differentiator though, because there are so many games now with the like track this or mania that, or basically in my head they all bleed together into a next gen version of Excite Bike.
Well, all of the blank Mania games are made by the same people, and they're supposed to be all interconnected, except that they're segregated populations of people. Like if you have one version of Trackmania, you can't play with any of the other versions of Trackmania.
Okay, so you're telling me there is an overarching like Mania universe.
You're very close. It's called Mania Planet.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's their hub for launching all of these games, and they're coming out with a new one, Trackmania Turbo, later this year. Ubisoft is publishing it for consoles, and I think they're just basically trying to wipe out the Mania Planet stuff. So we'll see how that works.
This sounds like one of those sci-fi novels that stretch into is like they are going to eliminate Planet Mania so that they can release Hyper Super Turbo Champion Edition Mania.
Yeah, it's weird. There's a currency that's really sort of no longer useful, but back in the day, you could pay for server upkeep using their in-game currency, which were planets. So you could pay for your server with planets.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's real weird.
Well, I wish you Godspeed on the tracks, because I will not be ghosting along with you, sir.
Yeah.
This is already too complicated for moi.
If you have the game, or if you want to boot up the demo, you could probably find me on the Giant Bomb unofficial classic server listening to really bad dubstep.
Ooh.
Yeah, the
official music of Planet Mania.
Actually, yes. The multiplayer servers can have a bank of music tracks and different user generated tracks to go with them. So it's
come for the rubbers, stay for the wubs, kids.
Yeah, the wobble bass is incredible. I've also been plugging along on that Tomb Raider reboot from a couple years ago. I'm about 2/3 the way through. That's a much longer game than I expected.
Yeah, longer and older. Like we said, kids, cutting edge game stuff here.
Yeah, I mean, I booted it up a while ago. I started a while ago, and I've just sort of been going back to it now and then. It's a very good game. I like it a lot because I like the Uncharted games, and it is cut from that cloth. It is most certainly not at all similar to its predecessors, which I never really played, so I don't have any great love for, but it is like the Uncharted games a lot, and I really enjoy it. I do have a lot of gripes with it. I don't find the combat to be particularly fun, and even on its normal difficulty, it can be overwhelming, and the combat would be better if there was like a sticky cover system, but there isn't. It's sort of you're behind something taller than you, so you kind of crouch a little bit.
Yeah, see, now I'm concerned. That's one of those games when it released, and I haven't really enjoyed a Tomb Raider game since I think the second one on PC.
Oh,
I just never really went back to it. I tried a couple and they didn't captivate me. But that looked so good that I bought it on Steam and never got around to playing it. And then they gave it to me on PlayStation, and I never got around to it. And then they gave it to me on Xbox, and I still haven't played it. But I do love me some Uncharted. Those were the games that made me think Tomb Raider was obsolete. So it's good to hear it's marching in that groove.
It does a lot of great things. Like the character model changes over time. Her clothes get ripped up. She gets, cuts and bruises, and
go on.
And it all but related to that, the game almost fetishistically like savages their heroine. She goes through so much trauma in this game. It is impossible to believe that she is still a complete person inside.
I remember from the reviews of the day, the controversy surrounding what you're describing, though none of them made it sound quite as sexy as you do.
Okay, so let me put it this way. There are quick time-ish events of the game where you're sliding down a waterfall and you need to avoid like punji sticks. If you don't avoid the punji sticks, one of them, they'll just impale her through the neck and the camera hangs on her squirming until she expires. It's horrifying.
No, that's not nearly as good.
That's horrifying. The sort of like the camera lingering when she gets shot up. You can like everything goes quiet except for the dude that shot her gets to say, "Hooray, we killed the bitch."
See, this is the problem is with that type of gameplay, like I'm sure that you're treated to that exact footage over and over multiple times until you work out the exact timing.
Oh yeah, and there's like unique death animations for how you die. Like if you get caught up in a tree on this one parachuting thing, you get impaled in the gut. And it just sort of hangs there while you squirm until you die. And there are multiple scenes in the game where Lara falls from a great height onto like a spike or something, and then she has to pull the spike out with a QuickTime event.
Oh.
It's really weird how much trauma the player has to experience with the character.
Crikey, I might just have to wait for the Uncharted 4. That sounds awful.
It's spread out, but it is poignant when it is there. It probably, I mean, if you separate out all of the elements of this game, that is something that definitely sticks it apart from Uncharted, which is more lighthearted. This is certainly a little bit darker, but I think it's more fun. There's more exploration, and the exploration stuff was really, really good.
Yeah, and the graphics engine looks really sharp.
Yeah, you got that tress effects.
Ooh, yeah. Not only does she die and squirm, but her hair musses up, adding insult to injury.
Yeah, it's got its own physics.
Yeah, that. Well, yeah, I plan to try that at some point. It does sound. It sounds positive, but maybe I'll play that one in the back and spare my family the gory, consistent death. At least when you're stuck in QTE hell, unlike your Shenmues, Ryu just looks slightly less stoic about his forklift skills instead of being impaled.
Yeah, and watching his own life expire.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't damage the jacket. It's not allowed.
No, it's got its own physics. So, Ray, is there anything on the horizon you're looking forward to?
Well, there was the aforementioned Persona 4 dancing all night, so I'm gonna definitely be getting my groove on there. So I'm also pleased that
is not actually a dancing game. It's more like a rhythm game, right?
Yeah, it's far more in the line of like you said, Project Diva or like a Parappa or something. But you know what? I hate to derail, but I have to vent for a minute. Parappa the Rappa is complete BS. I love it in concept. I never held the disc in my hands. I always wanted to try it. I've tried it in the past on emulators and could not do it. And I'm like, oh, the timing must be messed up because it's an emulator. But I bought it on PSN, and no, the timing is just wrong on that game. Completely wrong.
That was one of the first, probably, right?
Yeah. It's really bad. I see why they did not make a sequel, unless you count the Unjammer Lammy thing, which was equally bad. But yeah, so the Persona's coming. It is a rhythm game, it much more than one of the Kinect-esque dancing games. So everyone should be able to enjoy that one. And then the next episode of Life is Strange has finally been announced. Should be out in a couple of days. So me and the kid are also looking forward to diving back into that.
That's how you're
Looks hella dark.
That's how you're teaching your daughter to be a teenager, right?
Exactly. You got to learn how to manipulate those Vortex Club bitches.
Yeah, and time travel and that sort of thing, right? Yeah.
Well, the time travel goes, without saying.
That's what.
Come on.
Everybody when they turn 13 has time travel, and then they lose it when they turn 18.
Yeah,
the loss of innocence.
Yes, I miss that in my my Zack-esque ability to just stop time and talk to the camera
with a giant cell phone.
Always with a giant cell phone. It's the source of his power, kids.
The giant battery pack. Well, let's see. For my part, Galak-Z the Interdimensional is coming to PlayStation 4 and PC in August, and I've been waiting for that game for a long time. Mike and I played it at a couple of different PAXs. It is a top-down 2D physics-based shooter with roguelike procedural generation of its levels that is presented as if it were like an 80s anime, like Robotech TV show.
Interesting.
So that's the aesthetic that they're going for. You play this animate up dude in an anime robot fighting ship, and in between missions, you've got all of this Robotech-esque shit going down. It's really cool. I can't wait to play it for realsies.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds like a sort of a Zone of Enders thing I might be able to wrap my head around, more arcadey.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. And you have a button that shoots missile swarms. It's great.
Now, see, I am vexed by that game though, because you had mentioned that in an email, and I was like, Galak-Z. Now, for those that may not know, it has a very unique spelling. It's GALAK-Z.
Yes.
And I remembered seeing that and laughing at that numerous times before, so I thought I owned it. I didn't know anything about, like, I'm sure PlayStation gave that to me at one point, and I forgot about it. And I looked for it and couldn't find it. And then I found out, like, oh, it's not even out yet for anything.
Yeah, it's coming out in August. Each mission is preceded by like title cards and writing credits from procedurally generated 90s ass writing credits.
I like that. See, I want more faux episodic games like Alan Wake, where it's the full game, but every now and then they're just like ja 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 and roll some credits, and then when you come back, it's like next time on fake ass Robotech.
That's literally what this game is in the interstitial moments.
Okay, you've made a sale, sir. Well played.
Yeah, it's not on. I'm pretty sure it's going to be on Steam. It's not on Steam yet for pre-order, but it is definitely coming to PS4 and PC. So I'm way looking forward to that.
Excellent.
As far as there's a lot of news has happened in the intervening week since our last episode. One of the more interesting bits that I thought of was that Knights of the Old Republic 2 received a patch after 9 years or whatever since it was released.
Yeah, it's been a while. That's been like a decade.
Yeah. Obviously, they're gearing up for their mobile port, which is probably going to come out later this year. So they figured, I don't know, we'll just drum up some interest by releasing this bug fix patch for the Steam version of the game.
Now, how does that affect you personally? Were you a KOTOR guy? Or
man, I love those old BioWare games so much. Technically, KOTOR 2 was made by Obsidian, but it's basically the same game.
Cut from the same cloth.
But like, I mean, I guess I was much younger at the time, and I wasn't as good at video games. But I look back at my time with KOTOR 2 and realize that I had no idea what was going on in the story, and then reading up on it, realized, nobody knew because they released the game in an unfinished state.
Super broken. Yeah, I'm told you have to get this epic mod to make that flesh out even. So
that is one of the things that the patch added was Steamworks support. So you can like one-click download the restored content mod, which adds back in a lot of the story that was missing and actually figure out what's going on with these characters who you have no idea who they are.
And so, if I'm correct, I'm led to believe that you can save Eris in this version of KOTOR 2.
Yes, if you get 99 tissues, you can bring Eris back to life.
Excellent.
Yeah, Jesus. Ugh.
I know I'm reopening old wounds. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just thinking about like what the mobile version of Final Fantasy VII would have become if they just kept re-releasing it. It's like in this version, we patched Eris back into Disc 3.
Dude, I would buy any version where they patch Eris back in. That still hurts, and not even for the the contextual narrative reasons, but she was my best character. I was so screwed, man. Now the wife has been playing Kingdom Hearts, and she keeps going back and talking to the Final Fantasy, and I'm like, "Yay, it's Eris!" And I get so happy. She's like, "Why do you like her?" I'm like, "No reason. You'll see. Remake coming."
Yeah, in 7 years.
Exactly.
So, also on the news front, Arkham's probably not going to get fixed until fall, which is kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
I guess
Yes.
they're fragmenting the team so much that they don't have the manpower to actually fix it. So
yeah, they don't have the guys necessary to build a PC version because clearly the other one didn't do that.
yeah, it's really weird because the Shadow of Mordor, which is also, it's not the same exact team, but Warner also published that, was really well done. I mean, I don't get it, but yeah.
I don't know. If I had to guess, I would say, they probably threw more time and resources at the Mordor port. Because, I mean, if you're dealing with nerds at large, who's more likely to bitch about minor problems?
We'll see.
Lord of the Rings fanboys or Batman fanboys?
But the thing about the Shadow of Mordor is that if you're really into Lord of the Rings, you're already mad at that game because it does some pretty heinous ass shit to the lore.
That's true. It does bend the lore a bit, I suppose.
Yeah, and as far as I know, you still can't purchase it on Steam. So the Arkham Knight.
No, the this many days before a PC release of Arkham numerical board on my wall is still ticking away.
Yeah, it's a really weird scenario. This is like I don't know that this would have happened necessarily if Valve didn't institute official refund policy.
No, this is absolutely a proof of the use case. This was necessary and needed, and it's almost comical to get such a large AAA example of how badly it was needed with such perfect timing.
Yeah, I mean, that's really good. I'm glad that it happened to Warner Brothers and not like some indie studio that gets bankrupted by accidentally releasing a bad game.
Or even someone, another studio that tends to take the proper care with their PC ports. Warner has had this coming. It was time for a reckoning.
Yeah, I guess so.
But, it's not all bad, though. I mean, like, some heinous actions have come around. The PlayStation Plus version of Drive Club is out for what that's worth.
Yeah, what is it, like almost a year after the initial release?
Yeah. That was embarrassing.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. And from what I understand, that's just not a very good game to begin with. So
No, the PlayStation, from what I understand, the full version is hardly earthquaking, and the PlayStation Plus version is, well, a stripped down version of that. So I played it for 10 minutes, and I was like, well, cross that one off the bucket list. Let's play more Rocket League.
Yeah, there you go. That's doing well.
So that's a fun game. If you haven't had a chance to try that, I loathe multiplayer gaming in nearly all its many myriad incarnations, but that has that super fast to learn, super tough to master, jump in and game quality that like TF2 has that makes me tolerate it. Really fun stuff, kids.
Yeah. Well, it is PlayStation 4 and PC. So if you have a PlayStation 4, it's actually free this month.
Yeah, so. Which is funny that it upstaged the year anticipated AAA Drive Club thing with this cobbled together sequel to an unknown indie game that came out of nowhere, but people are loving it, and
I read about that. It's almost exactly the same game that they released a couple years ago, but they slowed it down a little bit, and apparently that made it just so much more better.
Yeah, that, and they gave it a name that humans can remember, which is
like
nice.
Super Fun Ball, Exotic Rocket Laser Car Adventure, or something like that.
Yeah, it really does sound like they pulled the name off of like Shinji Mikami's dartboard somewhere.
Yeah, so I think that's going to do it for us this week. It's good to be back in the saddle again. I'm still moving into my new apartment, so I've got a temporary setup here. I'm going to try to put out some more videos in the near future. I've got some ideas for stuff I want to try. So that it'll be coming, and not.
This is the time to send your requests for the special edition of Hatful Pigeon Boyfriend.
Don't ruin the surprise, Ray.
Because
we're gonna do it together.
Yeah,
you and me and Patrick. Secrets.
Always.
Anyway, thanks for listening, even though I know you're not. Ray, you can find you how on the internet?
On all services in your area as Bad Servo. That's BADSERVO. Feel free to tell me how wrong I am. Everyone
Patrick
does.
Servo on everything. I am at Fraktruck on Twitter, and you can follow the show at Fraktruck Games for news and updates. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
I'm trying not to be offended by the fact that I've been recruited for the Ghoul cast, as you so teasingly refer to it in the subject line.
Yeah. You're a ghoul. I'm a ghoul.
I feel very ghoulish at this hour.
You're going to have a gabagool.
Gabagool. We can go get the pizza pasta later.
No doubt.